We're going to make some barbecue short ribs of beef. Now there's the simple way of doing it, and then there's more, a little involved now, but to give the meat a great flavor. And choose your own barbecue sauce for the finish. But I want the meat to have a nice flavor all by itself. And this is how we're going to do it. We're going to season the short ribs with salt and pepper. I like the table grind. And I'll do it on the other side also. Then we're going to braise the meat. Saute the onion, carrot, celery. There's the red wine, a little shy of 1 cup because that's all I had left. And some water. After I season the beef, dust it in flour, saute it in oil, take it out for a minute, put the vegetables. After the vegetables saute for a couple of minutes, put the beef back in with the liquid and cook it really slow. Let it braise for the time it takes to cook short ribs, an hour and a half or so. So let's get started. I'm gonna let the pan get fairly hot, not smoking hot, and this is 12 ounces of beef. Seems like a lot, but it's not. Don't forget there's bone in there, and you can't eat the bone. And beef like this shrinks up an awful lot. So this is like 1.5 portion. And if you're really hungry, it's 1 portion. So like I said, I don't feel like touching anything, and there's no reason to. And besides, if you touch it, you usually lose some of the coating because your fingers take it off. Okay, it says that you don't have to cook this fast right here. All you have to do is get a little color, and that'll take care of that. And as you see, it's starting to cook slowly. Whereas if we were like cooking chicken, you would let it get hotter than that. So no sense in wasting film to look at this. Because what you're going to do after about 5 minutes, you're going to lift it up, look at the bottom. If it has nice color, you'll turn it over. You hear that sizzling, and you see it sizzling like this, that's the correct temperature. So it's been about 5 minutes, we'll turn it over. This side is not going to get as much color. If you notice, moisture came up, and the flour that was on the downside now was a little wet. So you're not going to get the color. So another 5 minutes on this. Take the meat out, put the vegetables in, saute them for a couple of minutes. Pour off the excess oil because we don't need it. Put the meat back in the liquid, cover it up, and let it simmer until the meat is extremely tender. This will be the best barbecue you've ever had. The meat will be like butter, and your favorite barbecue sauce, which you love, we'll finish it off. And that'll be in the oven at about 475 just for a couple of minutes, just to make that barbecue sauce stick nicely in. Get it a little bit of color. Now look how much the meat has shrunk. The pieces went all across. And now, that's why I say, It's really not a lot. Now we'll put the vegetables. We don't care about getting any color on the vegetables, you just want to sweat them up to get the flavors out. Just stir this up. Now the flour that's on the beef will thicken up the pan juices. This makes a mess when you're doing this because the grease splatters, but you know, that's all part of cooking. Give that a couple of minutes. Also, with everything else, this has to be seasoned. Put a little pepper, put a little sea salt, that way the vegetables will have their own flavor as the beef does, and the vegetables won't be pulling any seasoning from the beef because it has its own. If you disagree with me, it's okay. That's enough sweating of the vegetables. Now I'm going to pour them into a chinois to get rid of the excess oil. You don't have to do this, but I'm so used to doing things like this. I just don't want all of that oil in there. Oh, and by the way, I don't know if I mentioned, when you saute the beef, you can saute it in butter, and be careful the butter is going to burn, so then you would want to do it in clarified butter. And of course, you know it'll flavor the meat. So there's relatively not much there, so you really don't have to do it. Put the vegetables back in there. That was a waste of time. Put the beef. I put the darker side down. No reason. I'm just figuring it'll pick up the moisture from this will soften it more. There's the red wine. And the water. As soon as that comes to a boil, simmer it. I'm going to set my timer for an hour, and I'll be back in an hour to check it. I must say the aroma is permeating throughout the house. I was outside for a little bit and I came in and my dog is standing right under me. So after 1 hour, we'll just turn the meat and see how much more it shrinks. That's why I said earlier, just enough for one person. And I'll set it for another half hour and then we'll check it again. Well, it's 2 hours and we're done. All I'm going to do is turn the flame up high and let this reduce a little bit more. Now if you wanted to, you could eat this just like that. In another 2 minutes, the sauce will be thick. Take the meat out, put it on a plate, put the sauce in a strainer, a chinois, and there you have just plain old braised short ribs of beef. But I put the broiler on, and in about another minute or two, I'm going to take the meat out, brush the barbecue sauce on it, put it under the broiler, and I'm done with this one. And this is my wife likes this one, so we're going to put this on. So that's enough of the reduction. We'll take this nice, soft, delicate meat. One of the bones fell off. That's a good sign, then you know it's done. It's a shame to waste this, but you know what? Save this. Save that and make some pasta, make some rice, make some potatoes, and mix that into the potatoes. So we'll take this barbecue sauce. Put a little on one side. We're going to put a little on the other side after this browns up a little. And we will have a nice, tasty. Now I'm going to put it under the broiler. So now that I got one side done, turn this over and do the other side. This is going to be good. I know already because anything with your favorite barbecue sauce is good. Alright? That's it. Under the broiler. I poured about 1/4 cup of olive oil on this. I'm having pasta with this, so I'm going to show you how we're going to do that also. There it is, those 3 pieces. So like I said, it's a portion and a half. But if you're really hungry, it's only for one person. Yeah, like I said, I'm going to have it with some whole grain spaghetti. And as soon as this is ready, I'll just drain it, I won't wash it, and then I have the sauce from the beef ready. Well, as you can see, that is plenty to coat the pasta. So we kind of had 2 meals out of this. And we'll just warm that up a little later. All done.